It's a question many of us ask at some point in our lives. Why do bad people, those who lie, cheat, and hurt others, seem to live the good life? They enjoy fancy cars, big houses, and everything they desire, while honest, hardworking individuals often struggle. The contrast between the two can feel unfair, but, according to the Bible, there is a clear explanation, and it might not be what you expect. This question is not a modern dilemma. Thousands of years ago, Asaph, a psalmist, wrestled with the same concern. In Psalm 73, verse 3, he confesses, "I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked." Asaph observed the success of the wicked and felt frustrated, much like we do today. His feelings mirror the common human struggle with the apparent prosperity of those who seem undeserving of it. The Bible teaches that what we see in this life is temporary. In Psalm 73:17, Asaph gains perspective, realizing that, "I understood their final destiny." While the wicked may appear to be thriving, their success is fleeting. God's justice, however, is eternal. What may seem like a win for the unrighteous in the short term doesn't last forever. The Bible encourages us to keep our eyes on the bigger picture, the eternal one, rather than fixating on temporary circumstances. Not all wealth is a blessing, as the Bible reminds us in Proverbs 16:4. The Lord works out everything to its proper end, even the wicked, for a day of disaster. Sometimes wealth gained dishonestly or through selfish means can lead to ruin. What seems like success to the worldly eye might actually be a trap, destined to bring about a downfall. The Bible warns us to be cautious when it comes to the pursuit of riches, as not all wealth is a sign of favor from God. In Psalm 37, 1-2, we are reminded not to fret over the apparent prosperity of the wicked. Do not fret because of those who are evil, for they will soon wither. The Bible calls us to focus on our own journey and not compare our paths to others. While the wicked may appear to prosper, their success is temporary and their paths are not worth following. God's reward for the faithful is eternal, and it will not be overshadowed by earthly riches. Ecclesiastes 8:11-13 offers reassurance that God's justice will ultimately prevail. It will go better with those who fear God. While it may seem like God's timing is slow, His justice is certain. The wicked will not prosper forever, and their time of reckoning will come. While we might not see immediate consequences for the wrongdoings of others, we are encouraged to trust that God's justice is not forgotten. So, what can you do in the face of this apparent injustice? First, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs 3:5. Pray for those who seem to thrive through dishonest means, as Jesus instructs in Matthew 5:44, to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, and most importantly, remain faithful. Galatians 6:9 encourages us, do not grow weary in doing good. Keep trusting in God's promises, because they are far greater than anything this world can offer. In a world that often seems to reward dishonesty and deceit, it can be incredibly difficult to see others thrive through methods that seem to violate justice and integrity. Whether it's witnessing someone getting ahead through lies, manipulation, or outright wrongdoings, we might feel a sense of injustice and frustration. But as believers, we are called to respond differently than the world around us, by trusting in God's greater plan and remaining faithful in our pursuit of righteousness. The first step when faced with injustice is to trust in the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs 3:5 instructs us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. It is easy to become overwhelmed by what we see happening around us, but God's wisdom surpasses ours. His ways are higher, and He is always working, even when it's not immediately visible to us. Trusting in Him means surrendering our desire for immediate justice and believing that His plan will prevail in His perfect timing. Another powerful action we can take in the face of perceived injustice is to pray for those who seem to thrive on dishonesty. In Matthew 5:44, Jesus challenges us to go beyond simply enduring mistreatment. He says, love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you. While our natural instinct might be to resent or retaliate against those who seem to prosper through wrongdoing, Jesus calls us to extend love and forgiveness. When we pray for those who wrong us, we invite God to work in their hearts and also find peace ourselves. Lastly, we are encouraged to remain steadfast in doing good, even when the world around us may seem unjust. Galatians 6:9 tells us, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." It's easy to become discouraged and tempted to abandon our values when it feels like evil is succeeding, but the Bible reminds us that our efforts are not in vain. God sees every act of kindness, every step of integrity, and every sacrifice we make in His name. In the end, His promises will be fulfilled, and the rewards of righteousness are far greater than anything the world can offer. Above all, we must remember that God's promises are steadfast and true. The world may offer fleeting success through dishonest means, but God's rewards are eternal and unshakable. By trusting in His plan, praying for those who wrong us, and continuing to do good, we align ourselves with His will, knowing that He is working all things for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8:28. In times of apparent injustice, let us hold fast to our faith, knowing that our ultimate hope is not in the fairness of this world, but in the perfect justice of a loving and faithful God. The apparent success of bad people is temporary, but God's promises are eternal. As believers, we are encouraged to keep our eyes fixed on the eternal rewards that come from remaining faithful. While life might not always seem fair, remember that God sees you, loves you, and has something far greater in store than anything earthly riches can provide. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs hope today. Keep trusting in God. Your reward is coming, and it's better than anything the world can offer.